Welcome to Market Pulse by SC Securities and Daily FT. We are here to discuss about one of the most talked about and booming industry at present, the tourism industry. Last year, 2023, we saw almost 1.5 million tourist arrivals with a year-on-year growth of 106.6% with a $2 billion revenue generation for the year 2023. This year, the tourism industry has set ambitious targets with estimated tourist arrivals of 2.5 million and 4.6 billion revenue generation. With the intention of educating our viewers on the latest insights with regard to the tourism sector, we have a special guest here with us. He is someone who spearheaded the recovery and boom of the tourism sector. Here we have with us the Minister of Tourism and Lands, as well as the Minister of Sports and Youth Affairs, Honorable Minister Harin Fernando. Mr. Harin Fernando, we welcome you to the show, and it's a pleasure to have you here, and let's talk tourism.
Thank you, pleasure is mine too, and thank you for having me. Thanks.
First and foremost, congratulations on the successful comeback with regard to the tourism sector last year. If you look at the strategic actions that were taken, what were the strategic actions to achieve this success?
First and foremost, I think we faced a huge challenge in saying to the world that Sri Lanka is normal, that they can return back to Sri Lanka. Because I always keep saying it at every interview, every meeting that I go. My first job as I took office and came into this particular office was to find fuel and send the last tourists out of the country because it was unsafe at that point. Starting from that point onwards, what we did right was we initially strategized ourselves. We wanted to make sure that the hotel industry doesn't fall apart. So what we did was we moved to India and we did a series of roadshows explaining the negative media to a positive note, and I think that really worked out well for us. And with the global crisis, the recession and everything, we realized that the long haul flights are going to be expensive. So we thought it was more better to work with the regional tourism, and no better place to go other than India, because India is the fastest growing economy in the world. You have more than 250 million young people who are doing jobs, who are having credit cards, who are having all these kind of travel plans. And plus, we had more than, at that point, about 60 flights covering different airports in India. Right now, it's more than 92. So we knew that the accessibility, so when you have an air seat capacity opening up, it's easy to bring the tourists in because the airlines will start marketing it. We will be having different options. The DMCs in Sri Lanka will be able to give better packages. So what we did was we wanted to keep the industry floating. Luckily, India actually welcomed us very well, and they supported us, and then did the Russians too. At that point, it was just getting the numbers. Now what we're looking at is making it a better place, better quality, better product, and per day spending has to be increased. So currently, or a few months back, it was between $180 to $200 per day spending, which has now increased up to $250. I would love to see by the end of this year we reach somewhere like 400. So we will easily go to our target, above our target. The target that we have set for 4.4 billion is with the current amount of money. But to do that, there should be investment on hotels. There should be revamping of hotels. The product has to be better. We have to offer much more adventure stuff. They should be doing lots more things in Sri Lanka. So we started all of that. We're starting a domestic airline in Sri Lanka very soon. There are going to be 3 seaplanes going to be operated in Sri Lanka very soon. This will redefine the tourism in Sri Lanka, and also we have an ambitious plan of launching Sri Lanka as one of the world's best diving destinations.
That's amazing. You answered most of our questions right away in the first question. But thank you, Minister. If we look at 2024, you told the way forward. So moving on, we have seen different segments of tourists. We have seen high-end tourists who spend Then we have seen low spending tourists. Based on the available rooms and facilities, what is the ideal target market that suits Sri Lanka?
I always say to people, don't compare Sri Lanka to a Maldives. Don't compare Sri Lanka to a Thailand or a Malaysia or a Singapore. Sri Lanka is Sri Lanka. And it offers a different product. And even the companies, the hotels, the DMCs need to understand not to piggyback on what somebody else is doing, but be unique. And Sri Lanka is unique. Our culinary experience is unique. Our hospitality is very, very unique. That's one of the reasons why we came up with a new tagline called Sri Lanka, you come back for more. Lots of people mocked me when we got this, saying it is not the right tagline, but we didn't do it just because I liked it. It was a research that was done by Ogilvy, which is one of the world's famous companies, who even does the campaign for India. Incredible India is their product as well. What they came up with the research is 33% of our travelers are repeaters. Recently, we had a visitor who had visited the 128th time to Sri Lanka. That's unbelievable. So people, what's our strength is the love, the warmth that we give, and our product that offers a huge range. I myself, I'm sure many of you would have traveled abroad. Have you seen the 5-star lobbies like Sri Lanka? Sometimes some high-end hotels by 11 o'clock lock their doors. But in Sri Lanka, it is not. It's open. It's a 5-star hotel. It's just 24/7. The vibe is different. You go down south, it's a different vibe. You go to the mountainy area, it's a different vibe. Sri Lanka has everything. It's all in one capsule except for the snow. But it's just that we need to reposition ourselves. We need to rebrand ourselves. And we're doing a massive campaign around the globe, around the world, especially a 360-degree campaign, which is digital, which is print, which is on trams, trains. So I'm quite hopeful if we execute this properly, 2024, 2025 is the year that the hotel industries we can do well. New hotels are opening up. ITC will open end of the month, and it's the first hotel out of India ITC has opened up, and it's going to be a grand hotel. Intercontinental is almost finished. I am the interior part of it. That's a 400-room hotel, which is in Kolpiti, Bambalapiti side. And then also, that's the tallest building, I think, is for a hotel. Ritz-Carlton has filed up an application for a 65-key room hotel in Arugambe. So there are new products coming. Galadar is going for a massive refurbishment and will be branded as Radisson Blue. Sheraton just opened out. Hyatt will be sold very soon. There are 2 bidders. Final 2 bidders have been selected. So I don't know which brand will come in, but the Hyatt building will be sold. Hilton Colombo will be sold also to a different investor, which we will expect some new things to be done in there. President House and the Navy Camp, which is on the Janadipati Mawatha, will be identified as a tourist zone. So it's going to be a club, pubs, bars, all in Colombo. Because we have an issue when it comes to Colombo, mainly being not much entertainment.
Very true. We don't have things to do.
Exactly. So that's why most of the tourists directly bypasses Colombo. Only the business travelers come in here. But even with that, the Colombo hotels are full because the Indians like the casinos. And once the Cinema and Life is open, that has an 800-room hotel. And their GM is a Marina Bay Sands GM in Singapore, who they have recruited. So the quality of the product will be there. And also through Lotus Tower up to the Exhibition Convention Center, we are trying to move into a restaurant like a mini Clarky. We're going to convert all those warehouses into pubs and bars. So the culture has to be built, So if you go to down south, you see so many bars, so many pubs. You go to Elle, it's such a vibe. Arugambe season time, you can't even say it's Sri Lanka. So unfortunately, Colombo needs more events, and hopefully we will be able to attract a few big artists to come and perform here. Port City is doing a fantastic job, but it's a different product all in all together. Within the next 4 to 5 years, Colombo will be the Asia's partying city. When I say that, people will come and attack me again. But you want tourists, you need to give them entertainment. But entertainment that is aligned with the Sri Lankan culture. And what I also realized recently when we opened the Dabula Stadium, we got the Army, Air Force, Navy. We had all the brass bands playing. I'm telling you, Edinburgh Fist is coming to Sri Lanka. I'm trying to take the Sri Lankan version of it abroad as well, to say Visit Sri Lanka project. It's gonna work really well for us because we have so much of talent, culture, flair. I mean, you name it. I mean, we are a very talented nation. We just need to empower the youth. So we have a program of helping 1 million youth with 1 million rupees to start up something small with regards to tourism. So homestays is another big concept that has really worked in Sri Lanka. So as much as we cater to the high end, we are not going to forget the low end. I wouldn't say the low end either. You would have seen a very good video that was circulating yesterday. A lady going on a three-wheeler, the old gentleman who's riding the three-wheeler, and she gets so excited and falls in love and gives him $100, and he just broke out. He was crying all his way. So Sri Lankans are a lucky nation. We are a resilient nation. We go through a lot of trouble, but we will never fall down.
Of course. Thank you so much, Minister, for all those insights. And we can see that you have many initiatives on your pipeline. That's great to hear. How about the competitiveness of Sri Lanka when compared to other tourist destinations? Let's say in terms of room rates, facilities.
Well, if you ask me, if you go abroad, would you get a room for a minimum $100? And people are complaining about the minimum hotel rate. If you do not have even a minimum hotel rate of $100, how do you keep the staff remaining here? Best example, do a research with all the 5-star hotels in Colombo and anywhere else. The best years, Taj Samudra was telling me, the GM, when I went there recently, he said the highest service charge was paid in December after they opened up. Right, so we have done something really well, and generally you don't get credit for these things, but it was not for credit, it was the country, and I see the people who are in the industry really being happy. When you go somewhere, the way they react to you, and there is a positivity. They have hope. They were all trying to work in a hotel and then get the certificate and leave abroad, but now they prefer to come back, live, because the tourism. The only issue is I need Sri Lankan airport to be more organized, more spacious, because right now we are handling 9,000 tourists a day. I mean, if you really look at it, if this trend continues, we're going to have a serious trouble of managing this. So we'll have to manage the flight schedules. I believe we need to use all 3 airports, at least the Indian flights to come into Ratmalana, charter flights to go into Mattala. So we'll have to come up with a proper strategy and plan. But there is also an investment plan of giving the 3 airports to be managed to a different company abroad. I think that would be a super initiative, because that would really help. See, I sometimes feel that our airport's roof is short. So when you have too much of people, you feel congested and you feel like claustrophobic. But you have seen airports abroad. It's like 20-30 feet high, and then even if you're on the queue, you don't see it. And also, I have to say this: if we go to England, we sometimes stay in the queue for more than 2.5 hours. But unfortunately, when people get stuck and so much of flights come in Sri Lanka, because the place is small, it feels very difficult. But it is the same time that takes anywhere in the world. It's not an excuse, but we can do much better. Sri Lankans should be using the e-gates instead of the normal immigration. That will cut down the people. So, but unfortunately, I have 4 ministries. I don't think I'll get civil aviation also. If I would have had that, I would have had a plan. But we've spoken. We have a very good senior minister who understands the subject. But I probably think because they are on the verge of negotiating with a country abroad, they're just still waiting to see to finalize this whole matters. But I'm sure by the mid or the latter part of this year, lots of things will be streamlined. And also, I forgot to tell, before April, we are having 60 cruise ships. Before April.
Cruise ships.
60 cruise ships. So just put 1,000 into 60. It's a massive number who will be just coming on cruise ships alone. So that's also good tourism. That's good for Colombo. So amazing. They'll do some shopping. They'll go for some restaurants. The bus will be there. So all in all, it's a dream come true, to be honest.
We discussed about all the future policies and plans that you are planning to implement. But how about the long term? Will these policies be continued, Minister?
Yes, so as I said, governments change, politicians change, ministers change, administrations change. But where Sri Lanka has fallen off in the last 76 years is we've never had a national policy when it comes to key industries. I remember my past as a kid. If UNP wins, the entire government office becomes green color in paint itself. And if blue wins, the entire office becomes blue. So there's no policy. So for things that's really important for a country's future, a national policy in these industries have to happen. So we've done a comprehensive document which will be ratified by Parliament. That policy, whoever the minister, whoever the administration comes, will have to follow. We need that. For the last 76 years, we never did that. Even when it comes to people calling off VAT and cost of living being high, is a result of not being disciplined as a nation. So taxation is important. Even in your income, if you have 100,000 today and you have to pay 20,000 taxes, you're less, you will try and make something else to cover up for the 20,000. The mindsets of the people have to change, and that's where we are looking at even on policy, the mindset and a proper policy framework which will continue for the next 10 years. And then the policy might have to change again because things keep changing. So, but right now it's all done. It's in the draft of cabinet level. Once it's approved in cabinet, it will go to Parliament. Before my term ends, I'll make sure that it happens.
That's great, Minister. You are also the Minister for Lands. So there are many potential investors, both local and foreign, who want to get into the tourism industry. They're eyeing the tourism industry. How do they do that?
So we've opened a special window, and we are also planning on a tourism-based investment promotion activity. One thing they could do is be a part of existing companies, buy the shares, give more value to those shares, give more value to their property, upgrade the particular hotel because we are moving in the right direction. That could be one way. Number two is we've identified there's so much of lands which is under tourism development authority. There are lands under LRC, there's lands under the government. So we are trying to put Mahaveli, then also wildlife. So we're trying to put all of those into one bucket, which is going to be a land bank or a land trust, and start giving it out. But on a short-term basis, Tourism Development Authority holds the right to give these lands because it's already vested in them. So we're trying to do it as fast as possible. Even yesterday, I had a very fruitful discussion for a 38 high-end villa-type hotel in Yala, just like the Hilton Yala. The minimum room rate will be $1,200. So these are things that we are looking at, there. And as I said, Ritz-Carlton coming to Arugambe. So in Kalpit is another development area where you can have water bungalows, you can have the whale watching, the surfing. I mean, we need to move into new avenues. So there is a company that has given the president a proposal for 3 seaplanes to be operated. We are almost in agreement to all their conditions. We want scheduled flights flying in from Colombo to Trinco, Batticaloa, Jaffna and Hinguragode. These 4 airports will be operated daily on a scheduled route.
Wow.
And we're using Air Force also for this. Air Force have got 2 gifts, Y-12 airplanes, which is about 20 seats. So we're trying to give it to a private company to operate alongside Air Force. So it's a PPP because we don't want the government to do business. We would like the private sector being involved. We promote private sector business because the government is there to facilitate. We are here to make policy. We are not here to make business. So we are inviting all the investors to come in and identify exactly what are the potentials. So just now we gave approval to a skydiving school which will start off from Ratmalan and they'll do the dive to Panaduro Calido beach area. It'll be beautiful, and they really want to come to dive into Port City. But right now we are having a security issue. But I think these things need to open up. We need to relax restrictions. But hopefully, the current president is a very liberal open-minded person when it comes to entertainment activities. So it's not that difficult getting through him, but still the red tape within the government service is there. But I think very soon most of these will be corrected, and you can't do things overnight. But I'm quite happy where we have come, where we have reached in a very short 15-month period of being a bankruptcy state to being a potential country. And there are so many Indians who like to invest, and also we are getting one of the top 10 Indian, I can't say the name, to be a brand
Highly
ambassador,
classified information.
brand ambassador for Sri Lanka to promote Sri Lanka, because Indian market has done tremendously well, and luckily because of the issues that they are having with Maldives, we are actually benefiting at the moment. And there are open statements being made by government officials saying to go to Sri Lanka. So I think I need to check my time. It's very lucky at the moment.
You mentioned about the Maldives scenario, Minister. Currently, even the global landscape is in turmoil. How are the latest global developments affecting the tourism industry in Sri Lanka?
Correct. Actually, biggest issue is the cost factor, the airline costs, ticket prices. So we need to, Sri Lanka was just traditionally looking at few markets. So I've done something different. I've now identified 3 markets. I don't see Sri Lanka as a seasonal market. People say our season is from November to April, and our low season is, or off season is May to August, September. Absolutely bunkum, because it's something that is made in your mind. With the global warming, even the down south monsoons have changed. The beach is not the same, it's not rough as we saw, right? So you can actually run Sri Lanka right around, but you have to have the markets. So when the summer hits Europe, they don't travel. They stay in their own homes. But then if you go to Australia, New Zealand, Japan, that area is another very good segment that we can compensate on that low end of the low season, as they may call. So that's why we're going to on a big way to Australia. We go to Brisbane, Perth, Melbourne, and Sydney, and going to attract. So again, the problem is Sri Lankan Airlines is only the airline that flies direct to Colombo. But we are working with AirAsia, we are working with Batik Airlines, we are working with Jetstar, the budget airlines, because most of the Australians used to go to Thailand or Bali, but they are really tired of going there now because they've gone to the same place, but they offer very cheap prices. Air ticket and a 7-day trip is $1,000. So our air ticket price alone from Melbourne to Colombo is about 1,300. So that's where we're working on some strategies, but we've got some good partners, and we're going to make our presence felt in Australia, and the bus country for them will be Sri Lanka, because we also have a massive diaspora living in these countries, and they can promote because the country. So that's a whole plan that we want to do. And also Middle Eastern travel loves the colder weather, not the London. They always go to London at a season time, but then they want a tropical destination, but with a cooler atmosphere. So we see this quite a lot of potential even in Middle East. And there's lots of expats living in Middle East, which would like a 3-hour flight, just hop on. Emirates flies 6 times a day now. Qatar flies 6 times a day. Fly Dubai flies 4 times a day. I'm a happy man because all of these flights are coming in, meaning Cathay is back, Singapore is all 7 days, Turkish Airlines 4-5 times a day, but it will be 7 times a day. So all of this will give accessibility into Sri Lanka, and very soon we might be able to find more flights going into Australia, New Zealand via Sri Lanka. So we're working on them, and the Fifth Sky policy will really help them couple up 2 countries, Maldives and Sri Lanka, and sell it. So that will also benefit. Thailand is doing this with us now. Thai Airways is back. So all the top airlines is calling back to Sri Lanka, which is a very, very good sign.
We are also seeing some positive news. There's going to be a bilateral agreement to be signed soon with Thailand and even India. How will this boost the tourism industry?
Well, it 2 ways, because people going to Thailand is a massive number, and see the 2 products are very different. So also with Thailand, what we see is the Buddhist tourism. And we are very keen in the Buddhist and the Ramayana trail, the Bimstek travel. So that's a different concept we are working on. And opening up with Thailand, I think there are loads of opportunity because, again, lots of expats live there. Again, Thais are Buddhist. They have this whole philosophy which goes same way. So I think the bilateral trading to everything will connect business-wise, and it will definitely help tourism-wise as well.
Thank you very much, Minister. Also, Minister, a question a lot of people are interested in: how will the tourism industry boost help our companies perform well?
So, directly and indirectly, there are more than 3 million people depend on tourism. So, moment the tourism industry does well, it's not just tourism industry, it's not just the hotels, it's the suppliers, it's everything. It's the staff, it's many things that are around it. So, tourist booming means it's more than 15% of our population that has a direct benefit, and also suppliers of different products. So there are many things that you can see actually through tourism alone being improved. I think tourism alone in this country can turn it around. And I am not the biggest fan of, I was a foreign employment minister also, but on a short term, we wanted people to go and get the remittances because we were on a massive dollar crisis. But when the country is booming, when the port city is built, all these branded hotels, all of them coming in, first flight, they'll come back to Sri Lanka and they have that experience, and our quality of product will really increase.
Nothing like home?
Nothing like home. I mean, this is where we belong. This is where we will want to stay and end. So I think Sri Lankans are very passionate. That's why they sometimes get carried away. But Sri Lankans are passionate, but they would like the country, and it will benefit all industries when the revenue picks up. If people will be innovative, they start different products. I saw something very nice recently. Even this drumming, our cultures, the dancers, they can go to the next level. Those are also, when the industry improves, those kind of things also improve. The economy, the livelihoods, all of that will improve. So there's so much of investment. My only advice is, this is the right time if you're investing even on the stock market, because it's not right now the highest. You buy it and keep. In about 2 years, you will have about 100% margin, and you can sell it, and then remember me.
After a very insightful discussion, I would like to thank you very much, Minister Harin Fernando, for being here amidst your busy schedule. And we wish you all the very best to build a stronger and more resilient tourism sector in Sri Lanka. For all of our viewers, thank you for watching The Market Pulse, and we will be back with another insightful interview. Until next time.